What's up, everyone? My name is Alex, and I use he, him, his pronouns, or AMR's pronouns, and I wanted to talk about autism and gender. Specifically, does autism affect my gender? I thought that was an important topic to cover because it's something a little bit different. It's still gender related, but it's got something new to explore. So things going on in my life. I am back to playing Animal Crossing like hardcore. I've been doing a lot with my town, which I'm like excited to show off for the next Animal Crossing video. I am trying to get caught up on recording content because I am so far behind, and I'm recording these like a couple days before they need to go up. So I have that intrinsic like I gotta hurry up and get this done. And I mean, other than that, I've been working. I've been just kind of hanging out and doing my thing. Trying to come up with a long-term end goal for this channel. I mean, I don't think this channel will ever stop being a thing for a while, but I want to focus on like another long-term project, like a long-term video series or something that I could put on this channel. So I've been trying to brainstorm. Any and all suggestions, I'll take them. So it is pretty common for autistic folks to have a unique relationship with gender because a lot of gender is socialized. A lot of gender is attempted to be socialized into people. So with being autistic, that's a largely like socialization based neurotype. Like a lot of the different traits that express themselves in autism are usually based on socializing or I guess like self-awareness in a way. It's really hard to explain, but like I can see where it makes a lot of sense that somebody might consider their gendered experience to be affected directly by their autism. So I wanted to first start with a term called neurogender. This is when a person feels like their gender is somehow linked to or best described in connection to their neurotype. That's your neurological type. That is how your brain is wired. Your neurotype is how your brain is wired. So a neurogender is that brain wiring affecting how you view your own gender. And it's a broad term, just like non-binary. A neurogender can be really any kind of experience at all. It's a broad term. This is the flag for it, by the way. I like this flag. So neurogenders are not defined in concepts related to male or female, and not usually defined in relation to masculine or feminine. It's kind of an ungendered term, and it fits under both the non-binary and xenogender umbrella. So, or xenic and non-xenic identities, because some neurodivergent people might describe their gendered experience in a more abstract way. That would be like xenogender, or a more typical way, and that would fall kind of outside of xenogender. Now that I opened up with neurogender, we have autogender. This has been used as like an example of like, oh, these trans trenders, they're inventing these genders left and right, and like, look how ridiculous this is. It is definitely used as a meme in very bad faith in places where, you know, the trans experience is seen as very strict, very like, you need to be just this one thing out of these two things, and that's the only way you can experience a gender. So it's gotten a lot of hate, and there's a lot of misconception between or regarding autogender. Autogender is a neurogender that can only be understood in the context of being autistic. So a neurogender can be affected by someone's dissociative disorder. It can be seen like someone can view their gender like based on like other neurotypes, specifically autistic, it would be Autogender. But yeah, this is the flag for Autogender. It's interesting. It uses a color palette that you don't normally see in other types of flags, so I kind of like that. I like a flag that you can distinguish it from other flags. Like, sometimes I'll mix up flags and forget like what a flag is supposed to be. When I see it, I'll be like, I don't remember what that is. But Autogender, that flag stands out to me. The infinity symbol being the symbol for neurodivergence. Also, this is like a really big misconception, I guess, with this term, is that this is not to be used by non-autistics. It's an allistic person is someone who is not autistic. And I guess like this term has been kind of talked about by trolls, and there's a misconception that like this term it's supposed to mean like your gender is autistic, or like non-autistics can use it to say that their gender is like autism. That is not the case at all. Also, a lot of trolls call it autism gender, but it is called Autogender, and it has a very specific usage in the community for a reason. Am I neurogender? Am I Autogender? That's what this video is pretty much about. This is also going to be kind of a short video, I realized. It's another one of those, like, exploring a label that kind of fits my experience, but we come to a conclusion at the end whether or not it really fits me. It's not a video about a definitive, which, I mean, I got quite a few videos of those, but I like the idea of exploring. I like the idea of considering or pondering. So a lot of aspects of my neurotype affect the way that I experience gender. I talked about the large overlap of identity within like having a dissociative disorder, and I talked about like gender crises due to, you know, being dissociative and not really knowing what my gender feels like, not really being able to place a specific label on experiences that I have with gender. Sometimes I view my gender in a more abstract way. It feels like it's in the abstract. It's not, which makes it hard to describe. And I talked about, you know, having a xenic identity, or, you know, being xeno-aligned. I talked about like concepts like that. I have a video on that specific subject. I may link that in the end card. If not, well, you can find that in a playlist that I have for gender-related topics. I have a playlist for that. And I mean, I've talked about this kind of concept where like my neurotype affects the way that I view gender. I just never really specified like autism. In a technical sense, I am autogender. Like, I fit the definition of it, but it's not such a large part of my identity that I feel the need to take on that label. I'd love to explore it more, but it's also just not specific enough, though it does fit. It's a term that like does describe my experience. I'm still on the search for hyper specific labels, not too specific. Like, Demi Boy's pretty specific, and it does describe my gender pretty well, but like a subset of that would be great. But I mean, yeah, Autogender definitely like fits the bill, but I don't see myself really using it because there's so many other things that affect the way that I view my own gender, and I want to focus more on male-related identities and finding words to describe my connection to the male experience, whether it's a small connection or a large connection to that, instead of like a term that's inherently tied to neurodiversity or neurodivergence. So I guess that's the conclusion on this. I had a hard time writing this episode because I wanted to talk about autism and gender, and I originally only wrote this and I knew it was going to be a short video, which kind of stinks. But there's also 3 videos this week, or at least I'm going to try to upload 3 videos this week. So I'm not too worried about this identity talk being very short, but yeah, I just I didn't know what to do for this episode, I guess, just because I didn't have enough to talk about, and normally I will combine more than one video topic or more than one idea. Like I'll put a bunch of ideas together and try to like see how I can put them into one episode instead of them being separate talking points, I guess, because that I want these videos to be a bit longer, but this one's probably, it's going to be one of the shorter ones, unfortunately, but I guess it's okay. It gives it a little bit of variety. Next week, I'm going to try to talk about a new label, again, that I'm considering. And then the week after that, that's on the 29th, I wanted to revisit attraction, attractional labels, and reevaluate how I experience attraction. So that's what's happening for the rest of this month. So that's going to be interesting, fun, couple new things to talk about and everything. So look forward to that. So the question of the week is, do you have a neurogender? This is kind of a specific experience, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be getting a lot of like responses for that, but maybe somebody has found like a term, like maybe they had never heard of neurogender before and they realize that like that's a term that fits. So maybe I'll get some interesting feedback on, interesting responses on how people are discovering that that's a term that fits them. So go ahead, put it in the comments. I cannot remember to put the question of the week in the Discord channel for it, so I'll try to remember to put it there, but you can reply to it there instead of doing it in the YouTube comments. But I mean, whichever, we can talk about it. That's what I like. I like being able to talk, and I am signing off for now. See you later.